Nigel Farage has applied to change the Brexit Party's name to Reform UK, promising to focus on dealing with the government's woeful COVID response. Speaking to Mike Graham earlier this morning, Farage said there's been no leadership throughout the whole pandemic.
One of the slogans, Mike, we campaigned on was change politics for good. And that doesn't mean just Brexit. Brexit gives us self-governance. Once we've got that self-governance, we then need to exercise it properly. What we've seen in this pandemic, I think, is a total failure of leadership at almost every level.
The party leader also said there should be a focused protection from coronavirus for the vulnerable. However, this comes as Boris Johnson is expected to tell MPs there is no alternative to the lockdown. Martin Daubney is a former Brexit Party MEP, I say former journalist, still a journalist, of course. Martin, good to have you with us. So this is a kind of merging of your old party into a new one. Are you on the journey with them?
Okay, so we've known for some time, Nigel said a long time ago that the Brexit Party would be rebranded, rebadged as Reform. And the moment I think we all thought was going to be rallying around making sure that Brexit gets done. If the Boris Johnson government folds on that, then it was always our position to leap back into action. Of course, that is still going on. But as you're quite right to say, that the new battlefront of our time has become coronavirus and the lockdown. And really, this, Ian, is a story about the fact that we have no credible party of opposition at the moment that's offering an alternative to Boris Johnson's position. Keir Starmer nods along, the Lib Dems are MIA, and it has created a new political vacuum. Nigel's announced Reform. Lawrence Fox is also doing Reclaim. You may have seen the projection onto the House of Parliament from the Recovery Group. Lockdowns don't work yesterday. So we've got three.
Do they all have to begin with the letters RE in order to qualify?
Well, it seems like we've got some RE education. We've got the three Rs. But as far as my immediate involvement, I returned to journalism after my time on frontline politics. I have no immediate plans to get involved in frontline politics again. But as a political commentator, I started a new thing called Unlocked during the lockdown, precisely having these sort of questions about when are we going to speak about preventable cancer deaths? When are we going to speak about the damage to mental health of children, of adults, of addiction, of the economic ruin caused by punitive lockdowns that aren't seen to be based on any sort of science? These are the conversations of our time. And these new political movements are filling a void entirely of the government's own creation.
One of the problems, of course, one of the problems for that school of thought, as far as Boris Johnson is concerned, Martin, is that there isn't another way of doing this, that actually everybody's missing the point. We've got nearly 1,000 people in ICU beds with COVID. That's a perilous position for the health service to be in. There's thousands of people each day getting admitted to hospital. Some, of course, come straight back out. But the figure, around about 10, 20,000 infections we hear each day as well. With all of that, there's no other way. We think we can deal with it another way, but Mr. Johnson said there isn't another way.
That's if you believe Mr. Johnson. And that's if you believe the data that Sage pump out. And if you think there's another way, which a lot of people do.
But Johnson isn't you don't imagine Johnson is an instinctive lockdowner, would you, Martin?
I see Johnson, who's always been a libertarian. And we have the opposite of libertarianism at the moment. We have totalitarianism. We have rule by fear. We have a country that's been brainwashed into submission. And to even question the lockdown sees you to be branded as a rabid extremist when we are being pumped with propaganda. A YouGov poll out today saying 72% back Boris's lockdown. I don't believe that. I simply don't believe.
I saw that. I'm struggling with that because unless no one with that view ever calls this show, which I don't believe because we have enough discourse on a variety of arguments and disagreement, it would be extraordinary. 72%.
Yeah, and I think we've seen, again, calling back onto Brexit and the impending election in America, polling, I think, no longer reflects public mood. Polling is mistrusted. And in this instance, I think polling is being used as a tool of control and a tool of government propaganda. And I'm no conspiracy theorist. I just don't believe these numbers. I don't believe it. But I do think we have a huge gathering of people. And I don't think actually this is Brexiteers v Remainers. I'm involved in a lot of groups, a lot of WAGs, a lot of conversations, and there are Remainers and Brexiteers that want to come together on this new battlefront. And I think we should be putting the Brexit battle lines behind us, actually, and forming alliances of like-minded individuals who believe in the economy, they believe in liberty, and they don't believe in being sent into a bunker in fear. And I think there's a huge amount of those people that would be willing to vote for a new movement. I really do.
Do you think, I mean, in terms of Nigel Farage's reason behind this, do you think, Nigel is kind of a perpetual campaigner, and I've interviewed him many times, worked with him for a number of years, of course, and I never thought that the word retirement is anywhere in his lexicon, Martin. So is this just a man that needs to keep it going, needs to rub people up the wrong way, give the establishment a hard time, whether he believes it or not?
Ian, I always said that the Brexit Party should never have existed. The Brexit Party only came into reckoning because Theresa May's disastrous government almost sold our souls to the European Union. And once again, the government, I believe, is radically misreading public mood. It's not doing what most people want. And as I said, there is no opposition from the opposition. Keir Starmer wants more lockdowns. Andy Burnham wants more lockdowns. The Liberal Democrats, the Greens, all of them. We have entirely a political system of one position on COVID, and that is lockdowns and rule by fear. So once again, there is a political void that's been created. And I'm afraid that if we don't have a party of opposition, then new parties like Reform, like Reclaim, will spring up to fill that void. So all I can say is anybody surprised that a brilliant opportunist like Nigel and well-funded individuals like Lawrence Fox are coming into this space? Because quite simply, you reap what you sow politically. If you don't deal with Brexit, the Brexit Party comes along. If you don't offer a credible, inclusive opportunity and alternative to the COVID lockdowns, then new movements come along there too. So really, you reap what you sow, Ian.
Martin, thank you. Always good to talk. Appreciate that. Former Brexit MEP and journalist Martin Daubney with us here on Talk Radio. So you've got the Reform Party, the Reclaim Party. What was the other one he mentioned? There was another, another one began with R. Wasn't the Reality Party. Anyway, there were three. All started with RE, the one that splashed up the image on Parliament at the weekend. And all have a similar kind of thing. The question is, what percentage of people do those sort of outsider parties represent? I've done this job for a lot of years now, and I've never known really the answer to that. And I guess the nearest we get is perhaps the Brexit result of 2016, where the country is divided down the middle. On this about lockdowns, as Martin said there, apparently 72%. 72% of people support the government on the second lockdown. I'm not sure, really? What was the specific question? Do you want to protect people who might die? If that was the question, I could understand why 72% of people might go, yeah, actually, I'd quite like to do that thing. Not sure how that is phrased. It's certainly not the people I'm speaking to, either through work doing this job or other people around. That's not to say that everybody also is about unlocking everything either. But supporting a full month lockdown, I'm not so sure.